leaders. Ready? Okay. All right, so for today's last part, the the subtitle is Living on Purpose. And then the main verse, or like the main, like the main verse of it would be Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. So the main thing we'd be talking about is like, like how it says, like living on purpose, like the purpose that we have. So like we all know that we have like our own specific purpose, and like even a purpose as a church as in a whole. Like we have the things that like God has left us to do here on earth, and as well as like individually, He has given us like gifts and talents so that we can put towards His good and like for His glory. And so one of like the main things to be able to do to like live with that purpose, or like to be able to know what that purpose is having that relationship with God and that closeness with Him. So that way you're able to know like what your purpose is, because like in this life, like we have like things that we're interested in, or like the passions that we have, but like we won't know like 100% that that's instilled in us like for God, unless like we have that communication with Him, and He gives us the confirmation to like what steps to make in life. And we use those talents to like glorify Him, and that way like in a way it'll like like glorify Him and like bring glory to Him at the end of the day. And like it'll bring, depending, well, at the end of the day, it will bring people closer to Him. And a relationship with Him entails like praying and reading the Word. And reading the Word is like one of the main things, and especially like in the book, like she not stresses, I guess, like kind of emphasizes that reading the Word is one of the main things that leads us to our purpose, and is also one of our purposes. Because she mentions how she has like a very like stressful job, and like she'll be tired, but even though she was tired, at the end of the day she would still make time to like read God's Word and study it. That's the word. Study His Word. And so that at the end of even though like she was like like tired from like all the work that she's done, the Word gave her energy, and it energized her. And then in the book she says, I know beyond a shadow of doubt that I am walking in my divine purpose. The fulfillment and personal satisfaction I feel are indescribable. So she mentioned how like good it makes her feel, and like how she knows that she is going in the right path and she's doing the right thing, because the way reading the Word and like having that relationship with God, like it ignited her, and like it like energized her, because it shows like you're able to see the effects that God has on us, and like when we're doing the things that are right. And then like how I mentioned that we know our purpose when we have a relationship with Him, like we hear Him. Like I said, like reading the Bible, that would be like the main thing, because like that's what He left for us, like as a guide. And then in Psalms 119, verses 105 to 106, it says, your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. I promised it once, and I'll promise it again. I will obey your righteous regulations. So just like that beginning part, and it's also like in the pledge for the Bible, also like the words are a lamp to my feet. So it's like our guide, and we have everything that we need in that book, and it's like a living. His Word is alive. So even though we're reading the same verses, and we might hear like the same message, but it'll hit, I guess. It'll reach everybody differently, just because, like I said, we're all uniquely made, and like we have that unique relationship with Him. So if I read one verse and then like Haley reads one verse, it'll speak to us differently, just because like His Word is alive, and He does speak through us through His Word. So in that way, we're able to He's able to speak to us about and confirm like what our purpose is, and also like give us that confidence to go forth, with what we felt might be like our purpose. And then a main thing is also, like I said, like determining our passions and strengths, like knowing what they are, but also, like bringing it forth to God and being like, oh, like, is this the direction you want me to go? And the way we'll be able to hear him, like I said, is having that close relationship with him, and like having that being sensitive to his voice, and like in the word also, like a few things will confirm it. Like it'll be like through the Bible, like when you're studying, and like something will stand out, he'll like speak to you, or like maybe through a message too, like hearing his word and like hearing the preachings or coming to church. Like there'll be times I know, like when I come and I'm like, oh, like that, like that spoke to me, and I was here like on purpose, like with the reason being here, like he like everything lined up, and so like I know that like he does that, he like confirms it to us. And so then the author goes into like this example of like lanes, and like highway lanes, like it's always safe for everybody to stay within their lane, like not in the middle of a line, that causes accidents really bad. When I started driving, I didn't know how to stay in my lane, but we have like, like in the car, we have like our mirrors to like guide us and keep us within our lane. So like in a way, I was thinking that like, God is like his voice and his word is like those guides to like make sure we're in our right lane. And it was always confusing. I just never understood, how did you know the car was in the lane? But now I get it. Practice. But like I said, what am I saying? Yeah, he has like a designated lane for each of us. So I'll talk about the safety, but he has, like I said, we're uniquely made with our own purpose. So having that relationship with him and being close to him will give us the confidence to go into that purpose. And just some things in life will cause us to like might feel insecure about our purpose, just because like if your calling was to like preach or like teach, and you see somebody go up, let's say you go up on you were to go up, what is it, Sunday, like your turn was like on Sunday, right? And somebody preached on Friday, and you kind of see like the reaction they got, or like how they spoke, or like the way God worked through them, and like you feel like you have to like mimic them, or like you feel like you have to be like the same as them, like even though you hold like the same title, or you have the same calling, it doesn't mean that you have to be exactly like them. Just because like in the book she gave that example too, how her calling was to like teach and stuff, and she felt like she had to like mimic somebody else. But like I said, like having that relationship with God and having that trust in him will show you that like you're unique, and he will work through you differently. And he didn't make us to be like a copy from somebody else. Like, yeah, there'll be things that like inspire us from a person, and we might like take that like inspiration, or take like their methods maybe, but it's try not to. But like I said, being close to him and like not getting insecure about yourself about it, if that makes sense. Like if you're close to him, you'll feel secure in your purpose. Like that's the main thing, like feeling secure, because like there will be like a lot of things in life that will make you want to feel insecure about it. Like, oh, like maybe like this isn't my calling because I'm not as good as it as that. Like I'm not as good as this certain thing as them. Like let's say if you were to see like somebody teach like kids, and like you feel like God has like, oh, like this is where I want you to be, but you're like, oh, I can't communicate as good as them, or like I don't have that like relationship with them yet, and you feel insecure about like whether you should be there or not. But like I said, like just trusting God and like his placement, and like like his placement and his words that you should be there, and like he has you there for a reason. And then that's our designated lane. And then she talks about staying within your lane. So like I said, being in your lane is safe. And so she talks about how there's going to be like distractions that would want to like veer you away from your purpose. So maybe there is like you're good at like multiple things, but maybe God doesn't want you in like multiple places, that like he wants you to like like I said, to like take his steps and like obey him. And she mentions like this other thing where she mentions there's a difference between being capable and being called. So like, yeah, you're capable of doing something, but maybe God doesn't want you in that position. He wants to like challenge you and put you somewhere else. Or maybe you are comfortable in this position that he put you in, but not being like tempted to go somewhere else just because you feel like you're capable of doing it, because God called us. He has like a purpose for each and everybody, like individually. And then it says in Proverbs 16:9, the heart of a man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps. So just this is just like a reminder that, like, yeah, we make plans in our life, and like maybe we think like, oh, I should be here, or like I'm gonna put myself through, like, like I should be here, or like you, like I said, like you want to go somewhere else. But at the end of the day, it's like God's calling, and it's God's will, like that you would want to follow. It's more His will than yours, because at the end of the day, He knows what's best for you, and like how it says in Jeremiah, like He knows the plans He has for us, and it's just about like trusting that process that He puts you through to get to your purpose and understand and feel secure in that purpose. And then there'll also maybe be like distractions in life that would want to get you away from your purpose, or like distractions, right? Like an example would be in Luke 12, verses 13 to 14. It says, someone in the crowd said to him, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." Jesus replied, I'm going to read that again. Somebody in the crowd said to him, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." And Jesus replied, "Man, who appointed me a judge or an arbiter? I can't pronounce that word. Why? You know what? I'll read it up there, because my version is a little weird. Friend, who made me judge over you to decide such things as that? Wow, that one's more simpler. I put myself through stuff. And I read multiple ones too. But yeah, so this man came forth like while Jesus was teaching, and he said this like, "Oh, teacher, tell my brother to divide their inheritance with me." And then God replied, "That friend who made me a judge over you to decide such things as that." So in his way, the guy came forth with like his own like selfish reasons, like to have like to veer Jesus away from that conversation, just so that he can be involved into his like conflict with his brother. But Jesus did not entertain the conversation, just because like the man knew the influence Jesus had, so that he came forth. But Jesus didn't entertain that conversation, because he knew his purpose was there to teach. So he didn't allow this distract him to veer him away from his purpose at the end of the day, that he was there teaching his people. And then not letting people like with ill intentions distract him from his purpose. But also like it goes for us too, like not letting people get into our head, or like want to distract us to keep us away from our purpose. Because like I said before, it's like being secure and being that confident with God, so that way the steps to take, and where to remain and where to keep going. And then like I said, like there's things we can do, we shouldn't do, but Jesus wants us focused on His direction and His plan, because at the end of the day, like I said, it will benefit us, and it will benefit Him for His glory. And like it all has like its domino effect, right? Like it all works out at the end of the day to glorify Him. And an example would be like the context would be that, like I said, there's like many things that we can do in life, but like I said, like God wants us in one place. So in John 17, verse 4, it says, "I have brought you glory on earth by finishing the work you gave me to do." So this is Jesus praying. And there's many things that like Jesus could have wanted to do before leaving. Like there was still like a lot of people still in need to hear God's word, and like maybe be healed also. But at the end of the day, Jesus knew that he had to be where he had to go at that exact moment. He knew that he had to follow God's plan at the end of the day, to be crucified and go through that process, so that way we could all be saved and fulfill the purpose that he had coming down here in the first place. So it's just like one of those things where like there might be like many things that we want to pursue in life, but like I said, it's about like God's timing and His direction to keep us within our purpose. And then He called many different, like God has called different people to do many different things, and we are responsible for obeying God's commands and His directions that He has for our lives. Just because like everybody has, like I said, like the musicos have their purpose, and then like pastor has his purpose. Like many people have their purpose up here to preach and stuff, and it's all about like God's timing, right? Like if that's where you think you should be, then it's like asking God like for the confirmation, like, oh, is that where you want me to be, or like what direction do you want me to go with my talents or like the passions that you have. And then one verse I wanted to share would be, well, I shared it before. It was in my first lesson. It was Psalms, chapter 4, verse 8. And then I don't know how it comes up there. I have a different version, but we could read both if you guys want. So the one that I had put, because I like the wording on this one specifically, it says, "In peace and with a tranquil heart, I will both lie down and sleep. For you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety and confident trust." So I think, well, just like the overall message for like at least all three of them, like if to like wrap them up all together, would just be like trust and having that confidence with God. So like in the beginning, talked about like remembering our past victories. So just like remembering and trusting that God, what He has done before, He can do it again in our life. And then second, like the pessimistic attitude, like trusting that God has a different outcome and not always like a negative outcome that we might expect in our lives. And then also like with our purpose, right? Just trusting that the steps that He wants us to take or the direction and the purpose He has for us, it's for good, and it'll be good for us, and also it'll be good for His kingdom at the end of the day. And then I just think that that's like the main, I think, for at least for me, like what spoke to me specific, what like the overall thing, and it kind of went like full circle for me, was just like trust and confidence in Him that the purpose, we do indeed have like a purpose, and it's about building that relationship with Him to be confident within that purpose, and living with that purpose, even though we might not know our specific one. He has left us, like I said, like He's left the church things to do, like it says in Matthew, like go forth and make disciples. He left us with that like as a universal purpose. And then it's just about figuring out what your passions are, and going towards Him with those, and always asking for it to be His will, like wherever He wants to guide us. And then that'll be it. And then do I go?